Okay, so I'm gonna go through some editing of the Milky Way for you guys, because obviously we didn't get to achieve that today. So I was only able to take the one image, so I'm not going to be able to blend to start with, but what I'll do is I'll focus on the Milky Way itself to start with. So I've got it selected in Bridge, and then I will open it using Camera Raw. Now what I'm going to do is, first up, I'm going to do the lens profile correction. So remember, go over to the lens correction tab, remove chromatic aberration, enable profile correction. From there, most of yours will auto detect the type of lens that you had. Mine's not, so I just got to select mine. And once I've done that, it will automatically adjust the image from there. Now we'll go back over to the basic tab, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to raise the temperature between 4000 and 4200. Okay, I think about 4150 looks pretty good at the moment on this one. Once I've done that, I'm going to raise the exposure. Now I usually raise it between 1 and 2 depending on the particular image how dark it is. In this instance, if I got a 2, it's too bright. 1.5, it's probably still a little bit too bright. It's probably about there. 1.15, it's not too bad. Now once I've done that, I'm going to add a high contrast curve. Now what that's going to do is going to make the darker areas nice and dark, and then the gas cloud there, it's going to bring that right out. So we go across to tone curve, which is that one there. Now what we're going to do is you left click on this diagonal line that runs across the arrow spot that's nice and high up to start with, and then left click again down the bottom somewhere near that intersection of the grid there. Now what we're going to do is click on that top one and then drag it upwards. Now what that's doing is that's bringing your highlights, so that end of your histogram is dragging those out, making it nice and bright. And then we click on the bottom end and we drag that down. And you can see the effect that it has on the image, and it's bringing those shadows, making them nice and dark. We can see the contrast between the shadows and then the highlights within the Milky Way. Now that we've done that, you can probably see that there's a bit of a magenta sort of tone on the Milky Way at the moment. So we'll go back to the Basics tab, and we'll grab the tint, and then we'll bring that down about 8 or 9 if we have a look at that at the moment. And you can see now that those oranges that are in the Milky Way are really starting to pop now. And then we've got that good contrast between the dark areas and where the stars are. Now once we've done that, you can see on here we've got some clipping. You can see each of these little dots. And what we want to do is we want to drop those highlights down a bit, and that's also going to separate between the dark areas and the bright areas of the stars and make that cloud pop even further. So I've dragged that down to about minus 35. And next up, I want to add some blacks into it. So by grabbing that black slider, we drag that up. And you can see up on the histogram that we're starting to bring that information back towards the midtones. And we're still getting that separation between the gas cloud and the dark areas around the side. And that's made a big difference in the sky already. If I do the before and after view, so you can see the difference between that image on the right hand side and then this one on the left hand side. Righto. Now that we've done that, the next thing I want to have a look at is the noise within the image. So I'm going to bring it into 100%, using down the bottom left there with the view. And now we can see all the graininess in the image. And if I zoom in even further, you just see how all that grain is, all that texture throughout the image. So I want to reduce that. So we go across to the detail tab, the two triangles or pyramids, and then we come down to where the noise reduction is. We grab that luminance slider and we drag that up. Now I usually probably don't go any more than about 30. Now given I'm in at 200% zoom, you can see the difference that that's made already. So I'll drop that back down to 0. You can see the noise. Drag it up to 30. You can see how much of a difference that's made already. So I'll go down the bottom left there, bring it back to fit in view. And look at that, the amount of noise that's been removed out of that image already for the Milky Way. And that's really starting to pop quite well. So from here, I'm just going to hit open image, and then it'll open up in Photoshop.